Hello everyone, this is ODC, that's me, and I'm back with another action figure review. This is my review of the Mattel Batman Unlimited Arkham Origins Deathstroke figure. Very, very nicely sculpted figure, and sculpt-wise, I have nothing to complain about here. He's very well done. He's got a ton of sculpting going on. It's really, really great. That is the high point of these two figures, the Batman and the Deathstroke here as I pan out. He does come with really cool accessories too, but unfortunately I feel like they missed the mark on a couple of things, and as I've stated with well, if you checked out my Batman review first, if you stated, I did state in that review, sorry I'm bumbling here, bumbling and fumbling, the articulation should just be better. They should have just had DC Universe Classics articulation, but we'll get to that in a second. I'll get to my overview in a second. For his accessories, he does come with his bow staff here. It's pretty nice. And he does come with his, looks like a G36 rifle. Looks very nice. And I'll show you the other side. So, pretty cool. He also comes with his sword here. Pretty nice paint on the end of the sword here. Unfortunately, it's just a little too skinny. Kind of looks like a toothpick, if you ask me. So, if you ever have anything like broccoli stuck in your teeth, I would suggest using this if you don't have a toothpick handy. But, anyways, and his last accessory, he does come with a sidearm. Now, the funny thing about this sidearm is, if you haven't watched any other review, is that when you turn it, you're like, what in the blue hell is that? Yeah, there's a reason why that's there. Now, if you take Deathstroke here and you see this slot on the side of his leg, instead of giving him a holster, which Mattel has been known to give us before, they decided to go a different route. Not sure why, maybe costs. I have no idea. That's their big thing. Cost. We have to keep costs down. But they decided to put these pegs in here, so it just pegs into the side of his leg and kind of looks ridiculous anyway, if you ask me. Because I don't know any gun that just pegs to somebody's leg or just magically is stuck to somebody's leg like that without having a holster to hold it. Doesn't make too much sense. I know there are gun holsters with you can click them in, but you still have to holster them. I've never even seen that before, so it doesn't make too much sense. I mean, I guess if you want to use your imagination, you could say that this is a futuristic gun with a clip on the side instead of having the clip on the butt of the gun. But whatever. So with that being said, his sheath and his sword goes right on his back, and it just slides right in like that. Now the problem I have with that is that, not that it's that skinny, because it is very skinny, that's one problem, but the other part is that they didn't even close the sheath, so the sword pokes out. I mean, I guess it's not too big of a problem, because I mean, I guess you won't see it because it's kind of hidden. But I don't know, for me that kind of bugs me a little bit. It's just a nitpick I have. The other thing is that he doesn't really hold his sword very well in his hand. As you can see here, putting the sword in his hand, and it just falls right out. He doesn't really grip this sword, so it's kind of just for aesthetics only, which is pretty lame. I guess he holds it a little bit. I mean, I guess if you get it in the right position in that hand, he'll hold it, but I guess I must have got lucky. So there you go. He does hold his staff nicely. Whether you want to have him hold it with two hands or just one, he does hold it in both hands. And this hand is pretty much basically for the rifle, this right hand, or the pistol. So he does hold that, but unfortunately his articulation really hinders him holding it in two hands. He can't hold the rifle in two hands, so he can only really hold it in one. So that kind of sucks. So let's get to articulation since I brought that up. His head does move side to side. I mean, you got to be careful with this piece because it does like to fall out all the time. I actually just super glued mine in so it won't fall out anymore. But it would have been nice if they pegged this in properly and could have used that as a piece of articulation so you can get like a wind-blown piece. But now this won't move anymore because I've glued it in. So his head does move side to side. It does look up a little bit, and it looks down, more so down than up. And his arms go up about that far. They go down. They can do a full 360. No bicep swivel, same as Batman. He does have the elbow swivel and an elbow hinge. Now, this is the range of motion for his elbow. That's it. Not sure what Mattel was thinking with that, but okay. He does have a wrist swivel, no wrist hinge like Batman, unfortunately. And this is some of the worst leg articulation I have ever seen from a Mattel figure. I'll show you all the range of motion. His leg doesn't really go back because his butt is sculpted in a way where he can't really put his leg back. He does have T-jointed hips, which isn't... I mean, you get more of a range of motion with the right leg than the left. His leg goes forward this far. And that's it. So you can't even get him into like a standing snipe pose or anything like that. And for mine, my feet are so off-centered that he just stands awkward. So not really understanding that. His knees don't really bend that much either. They bend about that far. He does have that knee swivel instead of an upper thigh swivel. He does have an ankle hinge, which points down and doesn't really go up, just kind of goes back to level. And it does have a redundant, pointless swivel at the ankle. Since it already has a swivel at the knee, doesn't really need a swivel at the ankle. They should just give it an ankle pivot. But, so, I mean, not very good articulation here, but, I mean, just look at the sculpting. He's very well done. He's got all these pouches coming up on the front. He's got some battle damage on his shoulder pad here. I believe he's got some battle damage on his knee pads. On his shin pads too, shin guards. He's very armored up. And which is very strange for me because I never really truly understood why Deathstroke would wear so much armor if he does have a healing factor. So, not too sure. That's probably why I wasn't a big fan of the Injustice look for a lot of the characters, because they're just all armored up and bulked up, and it's like you don't have to do that. Just certain characters don't need armor. You know what I mean? Like, I can understand if you want to give Batman some armor, that's fine. But I don't know. I just like the more comic book version, the traditional comic book version of characters, not with all this chunky crap going on. But he does have a lot of sculpting in the pockets, and the shoulders got some ammo on there. Pretty nice. I mean, definitely, you're buying this figure for the sculpt and not the articulation, unfortunately, which is pretty confusing to most Mattel buyers because you usually want the articulation as well, and maybe a little bit less detail. But as far as size comparison goes, I'll bring in Batman as I did with the Batman review. Batman does stand a bit taller than Deathstroke here. And I'll bring in Arkham City Batman. Arkham City Batman is much taller than Deathstroke. So, there you go. Deathstroke is definitely the shorter of most figures, but he does look very nice. Like I said, if you're just looking for a display piece, this is a very nice option to get if you don't want to spend, you know, I think it's probably about $6, $7 more with shipping for the DC Collectibles one. But I don't know. I still like this figure. If I had to rate him, I'd probably rate him as a 7, and that's an overall rating. I think he's got a very good sculpt, but the articulation is just putrid. I just don't agree with the articulation decisions with this guy. But still, I think he's a decent pickup. Like I said, if your wallet's hurting and you don't want to spend a little bit more money for DC collectibles, then pick this guy up. But if not, you know, I'm a Batman fan. I want anything that has to do with Batman. So I still enjoy this figure. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. It's pretty much going to wrap it up here. Thank you for watching. And as always, I will see you guys on the flip side.